Now, you and I have spoken a lot about Kamala Harris relying on vibes, TikTok likes, dancing and celebrities to get her over the line, and it failed. And now celebrities are turning on each other. Many within the Democrats believe actor George Clooney is to blame for doing serious damage to the left. Bo, who would have thought that the rich elites didn't appeal, after all, to middle Americans doing it tough?
Well, look, Clooney was right that Joe Biden wasn't the right candidate to lead them. That's true. But when he put his support behind Kamala Harris, that was detrimental. But let's be clear, it wasn't just George Clooney that's to blame. I mean, you can point one finger at him. It was the DNC. It was the media. It was the Hollywood elites. And it was some Republicans. Think about the Cheneys, Liz and Dick Cheney. They're to blame, too. They put their money behind the wrong candidate. And no amount of hatred for Donald Trump could make Kamala Harris a better candidate. But here's the thing, too, Danica. Democrats lost the middle class. They lost touch with the middle class. They lost touch with the working class. Donald Trump went to those areas. He went to those small cities across the flyover states. He listened to them. He listened to their concerns about the economy and about inflation. And because he listened to them and spoke to them, they voted for him. It's just that simple.
Yeah, and some of Hollywood's biggest stars have threatened to leave the US following Trump's election victory. Singer Cher, for example, claimed that she dealt with health issues that were directly sparked by Trump's presidency term in the first instance, would you believe? And she said that she would leave the country for good. Bo, have any of these elites actually stopped to ask themselves not how Donald Trump won the election, but why? Because that is key here.
Well, there needs to be an introspection. There needs to be a whole recalibration of thought. But I'm fearful that that won't happen because of arrogance. These elites think that they can tell people how to think, how to vote, what emotions to have. They prey on voters' emotions. But the difference is the American voter won in this. They couldn't control their minds. And I think that's so critical to understand that they've got to have a reckoning. The media has to have a reckoning. The elites have to have a reckoning that they cannot control the American voter's mind. And you know what, Danica, to those who said they want to leave the country, I want a list of those people. I want to make sure we're keeping tabs of where they are, because you know what? I would sing to them exactly like NSYNC sang. Bye, bye, bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Make good on your promise and get the hell out.
Absolutely. Bye, bye, bye. Good riddance. I like that one. And now what I found interesting was the female turnout. It was a significant part of Harris's election loss because she really needed that female support, and she banked on their support. When you think about it, her whole campaign was based on women's reproductive rights and abortion, but it wasn't enough. But why do you think Kamala Harris failed to get as many women to back her as she had hoped?
Because she wanted to make women single-issue voters on one issue alone, abortion. She thought that abortion was more important to women than the economy, than inflation, than the price of eggs and gas, in putting food on their families' tables, in safe cities, safe streets for their children. And here's a question that they should be asking themselves. Does the average American woman want to have a family, or do they want to abort a family? That's the question they have to ask themselves. They guessed it really, really wrong. And that's why Donald Trump won the support of most suburban women. For that reason alone, if she thought that they were so monolithic, she really, really, really pandered to women, and in a bad way, and thought that they were single-issue voters, and they weren't. And I just got to say this too, Danica. Just today, Donald Trump appointed the very first female chief of staff in American history. So for all this identity politics and saying that Donald Trump is a misogynist, BS. Look what he did. Actions speak louder than words.
Now, we saw something during the campaign that we've never really seen before, and that was the influence of podcasts. Trump did Joe Rogan, one of the most popular podcasts in the world, but he also appeared on a number of others hosted by young anti-woke men like Theo Von, Lex Fridman, Logan Paul, for example. And Bo, this is quite interesting because all these men, I guess, speak to a crucial part of Trump's base of less educated young men, but who are disaffected with progressive politics. Was this a secret weapon for the campaign?
I think it was. You know, a lot of men supported Donald Trump. He had about an 18% advantage on Kamala Harris in terms of men. But young men listened to him. And again, why? Because he spoke to them. He wasn't too good to go on Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan offered for Kamala Harris to come on his podcast, and she said no. She thought she was too good for it. See, that's the difference in these two campaigns. Donald Trump went to these people and went on these podcasts and said, I'm not too good for it. You can ask me anything you want. It appealed to young men's humor, to their sensibilities. And I think that people look up to Donald Trump as the alpha male. And the bigger issue is that this is a new era of citizen journalism. This is the beginning of the end of the legacy media. They can't tell you how to think anymore because they've been wrong so many times. They've been inaccurate on their stories. Think about the Hunter Biden laptop story. It is the beginning of the end of them. So this is a new dawn, Danica. It's a new day, and it's the birth and the championship of free speech in this country. And I'm so happy about it.